Welcome to the BTL Morning Show, and this is Aben Garlan, your leadership and personal growth coach today. I believe that every person has the capacity to go beyond the limits in personal growth and life mastery. That is why I started my community Beyond the Limits. If you're not yet a member, please join our Facebook group, Beyond the Limits Community. Join our discussion today together with our coach, Luis Yu. Luis?
Hi, BTL community. This is your business coach, Luis, and we are here to inspire, equip, and empower. So join us today for this episode. Why do we need to develop ourselves and why do we need to grow? Let's talk about shifting from goals to growth. Coach Aben?
Yes, Coach Luis. You know what? Talking about goals to growth, I'm actually a numerically oriented person because maybe of my background in sales for almost or more than 10 years with the corporate world. And so, yes, I tend to define success in terms of numbers. You know what I'm talking about? Sales targets, achievement, growth versus last year, headcount, transaction count. So I was in the fashion retail industry for 10 years. And yes, as I've said, that's my orientation. I eat numbers for breakfast, Luis. And even in the ministry, I tend to put some measurements when it comes to doing our or serving in the ministry. So yeah, the total head count and then the number of views now in the digital world, right?
Yes.
So yes, I do that. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with focusing on the numbers. Why? Because we want to measure what we want to grow. And we grow what we can measure. Correct? So
Exactly.
yes, I'm an achiever. I know that. I know that full well. And I normally base performance based on numbers. But when we achieve a certain goal, I don't know if you could relate to this, Luis. If you are able to achieve a certain goal and the celebration is done, the question is, what's next? How about your thoughts?
Well, on my exposure, my experience, I am more exposed on the operations, more on the overseeing of the entire operation, not particularly on sales and on marketing, but on the entire operation and managing operations. And well, basically, when you oversee a certain operation, of course, you have goals at the end of the day. You have goals at the end of the month, and you have also goals at the end of the year. And you want to make sure that your operation is free flowing. You follow the protocols. You set your targets right, and you deliver to the customers what they need to receive, or the services that they need to receive from you and your company. So I am basically, again, same as you. I also look at the bigger picture by setting goals and by looking at the goals. But somehow, when I was able to evaluate everything in everything that I do, I stumbled to the question that you mentioned, that what's next?
Yes.
Once you achieve all the goals that you have, it tends to stick, or we tend to stick into that certain cycle that we are being used to, that there are no more motivation, there are no more excitement, and growth comes in. That's the most important part of life itself, because after goals you need growth. Well, goals helped me do better, but growth made me become better.
Yes, wonderful. I like that. Goals will help us do better, and growth will help us become better. Thank you so much for that, Coach Luis. And you know what? Just to share my experience from shifting from goals to growth, I look upon my journey, and as I reflect and I did some introspection, I realized that learning and growing through the process is actually more important than hitting the numbers. For example, as I work on these numbers, as I lead people, as I lead organizations, I experienced a lot of setbacks. Did you experience some
Oh,
problems in your company?
yes, yes, of course, of course.
Yes, and of course we face challenges, correct?
Yes,
Especially
absolutely.
now, and even before pandemic, correct? So,
Yes.
so during those times, experiencing those problems, setbacks, trials, I got hurt. I felt the pain, and I bled as a leader. But at the same time, and of course, I know that you can relate with me regarding this, Luis, that we bleed as leaders, right? That's
Yes,
why we call
yes.
it leadership. And
Correct, correct.
even though we bleed, even though we suffered, even though we faced struggles, trials, at the same time, we also learned how to be better, how to become better, how to lead better. Correct? For example, in
Yes,
your part, in your business, and of course in your ministry, in our ministry, right? And
yes, yes.
we tend to grow in our character, to improve ourselves, our competencies along the way in those journeys, and we are able to develop confidence. So I personally, I became more loving, more patient, more trusting, and more persevering because of the journey, regardless of what numbers did I hit during that time. And so all this, the good side and the bad side, the trials and the triumphs, helped me to become better. And that's what is important, to grow continuously as a person. Yes?
Yes, and
So,
let me just
yes,
add Coach
sure.
Aben, because yes, when you focus on your goal, actually
Mhm.
you are also on the process of growth.
Correct.
If you're
Yes.
able to master, if you're able to master the connection between goals and growth,
Yes.
you will become a better person. But again, as what we have emphasized on this episode, we need to shift from goals to growth, because growth will last
Yeah.
a lifetime. Goals
Correct.
is what you or growth is what you need when
Mhm.
you become older, when you become a coach or a
Mhm.
father or a uh, a mentor to a lot of younger generations. So again, goals is very important as well, because as we are indeed leaders, we bleed. We have goals actually. That's why
Correct.
we have a direction. But
Correct.
along the way, as we bleed and as we got hurt on the process, as we failed several times, that's the time that we grow, and that's the
Yes.
time that we need to embrace, and we need to catch the lesson every time so that we will grow beyond the limits. Yes.
Correct. I agree with you, Luis. And yes, for taken for example, my experience. Yes, the numeric goals, as I've said, I eat numbers for breakfast, but numbers are important. Numeric goals are important, and other goals are very, very important. But I want to consider the achievements, okay, as a result of my growth journey. I achieved a certain level of success. I achieved these numbers. We achieved this this uh, result that we want because of the continuous growth. Imagine if
Yes.
we did not grow. Imagine if we stop growing,
Mm,
we start
correct.
dying. Correct?
Correct.
Yes,
I agree. I agree.
that's why it's very, very important. Yes, we need to work on our goals, and more importantly, to continuously grow. That's why, Luis, we want to talk about these shifts from goals to growth. And of course, our next discussion will be about growth outward to growth inward.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. What did you learn and what are your takeaways? Please leave a comment at the comment section. And once again, this is your business coach, Luis Yu, and we'll see you again next episode.
Yes, before we move to the next episode, please do give us a favor. share this post to your friends. And please follow my page, Aben Garlan, and of course, join our worldwide community of individuals who want to go beyond the limits in personal growth and life mastery. Visit Beyond the Limits Community Facebook group today. So once again, this is Aben Garlan telling you that you can make waves, trailblaze, and go beyond the limits. We will see you on the next episode.